The How of Happiness by Sonja Lyubomirsky. Introduction. Imagine a man who had everything the world tells you is the secret to happiness. He was a rock star, not just a local musician playing in a garage, but a real, world-famous rock star. He was the drummer for a massively successful folk rock band, making a fortune, appearing on Saturday Night Live, and traveling the globe on sold-out tours. He had the money, the fame, the big house, the dream. Then, one day, it all collapsed. The band broke up. The touring stopped. The house was gone, and his wife left him. His world, as he knew it, was over. Now, picture this same man years later. He's a single father living with his 2 young children in a modest house on the outskirts of Winnipeg, Canada, miles from the nearest town, in the middle of the vast, windy prairie, a place where a trip for milk is a major event. When a research team went to interview him for a documentary about the lives of very happy people, they found someone completely at peace. A man genuine and at ease, fully engaged in his music and his children. They asked him a simple question: did being a wealthy rock star make you happy? His answer is what I want you to hold on to for the next few minutes. He said, "I had it, the money and fame, and now I don't, but my happiness level is the same. There is no difference." No difference. Think about that. It flies in the face of everything we're taught. We spend our lives chasing things: better grades, a better job, more money, a more attractive partner, a bigger house, believing that when we get them, then we will finally be happy. But what if that's all a grand illusion? Today, we're going to explore one of the most important books ever written on the science of well-being, The How of Happiness by Dr. Sonja Lyubomirsky. This isn't just another self-help book filled with pleasant opinions. Dr. Lyubomirsky is a world-renowned research psychologist from the University of California who has spent her entire career studying happiness not as a philosophy, but as a science. Her work, which has sold over 400,000 copies and been translated into dozens of languages, offers us a blueprint, a scientifically validated formula for understanding and creating lasting happiness. And the core of that formula lies in a single, revolutionary idea: the 40% solution. By the end of our time together, you will understand the 3 forces that determine your happiness, and you'll discover why 2 of them matter far less than you think. More importantly, you'll learn about the 12 specific, intentional activities, the tools that science has proven can permanently increase your level of well-being. This isn't about finding happiness. It's about building it. And the good news is, the blueprint is available to every single one of us. So, let's begin. Book summary. In every corner of the world, from the bustling streets of New York to the quiet villages of South Korea, when you ask people what they want most in life, the answer is almost always the same: happiness. For themselves, and especially for their children. It's the Holy Grail, the ultimate destination we're all journeying toward. Yet, for so many of us, it feels like a destination we can never quite reach. We think, "I'll be happy when I graduate," or "I'll be happy if I get that promotion," or "I'll be happy when I find the right person." We're constantly postponing our well-being, waiting for our life circumstances to change. Dr. Sonja Lyubomirsky begins her work by shattering this fundamental myth. Through decades of rigorous research, she and her colleagues have uncovered what they call the determinants of happiness, and they've broken it down into a simple, powerful pie chart that will change the way you see your life forever. Imagine your happiness is a pie. That pie is divided into 3 slices, of very different sizes. The first slice, and it's a big one, accounts for 50% of your happiness. This is what scientists call your genetic set point. Just like some people are born with a predisposition to be tall or have a fast metabolism, each of us is born with a certain baseline for happiness. This comes from our biological parents. It's the level of happiness our minds and bodies tend to return to, even after major life events, whether they are triumphs or tragedies. This discovery came from studying identical and fraternal twins. Identical twins, who share 100% of their genes, have remarkably similar levels of happiness, even if they were separated at birth and raised in completely different environments. Fraternal twins, who are no more genetically alike than any other siblings, show no such similarity. This tells us that a huge part of our natural disposition for happiness is, in fact, hardwired. Now, this might sound a bit discouraging at first. If half of my happiness is predetermined, am I stuck? But hold that thought, because this is where it gets interesting. The second slice of the pie is shockingly small. It represents just 10%. And what does this tiny slice represent? It represents your life circumstances. Everything we spend our lives chasing. Your income, your job, your social status, whether you're married or single, whether you're beautiful or plain, whether you live in a sunny paradise or a frozen tundra. All of these external factors, put together, account for only 10% of the differences in people's happiness levels. This is one of the most counterintuitive findings in all of psychology. Research has shown that the richest Americans, those earning over $10 million a year, are only slightly happier than the blue-collar workers they employ. Studies show that getting married gives people a happiness boost for about 2 years, and then they return right back to their original baseline. Even something as dramatic as plastic surgery offers only a temporary lift. Remember Denise from the show Extreme Makeover? After a 12-hour surgery that made her look 10 years younger, she felt like a movie star for a while. But a year later, she confessed that the makeover was nothing compared to real happiness. Why is this slice so small? Because of a powerful force called hedonic adaptation. Human beings are incredible at getting used to things. The first bite of a delicious dessert is amazing. The 10th bite is just okay. The same is true for life changes. When you get a new car or move into a bigger apartment, it feels wonderful at first. But very quickly, it becomes the new normal. You adapt, and that initial joy fades away. So, if 50% of our happiness is our genetic set point, and 10% is our life circumstances, that leaves a huge, unexplained piece of the pie. And this is the most important part of our story today. The final slice, a massive 40%, is determined by your intentional, daily activities. It's not your genes, and it's not your situation. It's your thoughts, your behaviors, and the goals you choose to pursue every single day. This is the 40% solution. It is the room you have to maneuver. It is the power you have, right now, to take control of your own well-being. The key to lasting happiness lies not in changing your genes, which is impossible, and not in changing your circumstances, which is often impractical and ineffective. It lies in changing what you do. This is the central promise of the How of Happiness. It tells us that happiness isn't something we find. It's something we create. It's a practice, a skill, and a discipline. And Dr. Lyubomirsky's research has identified the 12 specific activities that the happiest people in the world practice consistently. These aren't just nice ideas. They are scientifically validated strategies that have been tested in controlled experiments and shown to increase long-term well-being. But before we dive into this toolkit of happiness, there's one more crucial idea we need to understand: the concept of person-activity fit. There is no single magic bullet for happiness. What works wonders for one person might feel awkward or unnatural for another. Just like a diet or an exercise plan, the best happiness strategy is the one you'll actually stick with. The goal is to find the activities that resonate with your personality, your values, and your needs. For example, an extroverted person might get a huge boost from activities that involve social connection, while a more introverted person might find deep satisfaction in solitary practices like meditation or journaling. So as we explore the 12 happiness activities, I want you to listen with a personal filter. Ask yourself, does this feel like me? Is this something I could genuinely see myself doing? The secret isn't to do everything, but to choose a few strategies that feel authentic to you and to commit to them. Let's open the toolkit. I've grouped these 12 activities into a few core themes to make them easier to understand and remember. Part 1. The Power of Perspective. The first group of activities is all about changing the lens through which you see the world. As the poet John Milton wrote, "The mind is its own place, and in itself, can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven." The first activity is expressing gratitude. This is so much more than just saying thank you. Gratitude is a deep sense of wonder and appreciation for life. It's the practice of consciously focusing on what you have, rather than what you lack. Dr. Lyubomirsky's research shows that this simple act is one of the most powerful happiness boosters available. In one of her classic experiments, she asked one group of people to write down 5 things they were grateful for once a week for 10 weeks. Another group wrote about 5 daily hassles. The results were astounding. The gratitude group felt more optimistic and more satisfied with their lives. They even reported fewer physical symptoms, like headaches and coughs, and exercised more. Why is gratitude so effective? For at least 8 reasons. First, it promotes the savoring of positive experiences. When you take a moment to be thankful for a beautiful sunset or a warm conversation, you extract the maximum possible joy from it. Second, it bolsters your self-worth. Realizing how much others have done for you or how much you have accomplished makes you feel more confident. Third, it helps you cope with stress and trauma. Gratitude can help you find the silver lining in a setback and realize that things, as bad as they may be, could always be worse. After the September 11th terrorist attacks, gratitude was the second most commonly experienced emotion, after sympathy. It's a natural human response to adversity. Fourth, it encourages moral behavior. Grateful people are more likely to be helpful, generous, and compassionate. Fifth, it builds social bonds. When you express gratitude to someone, it strengthens your connection to them, creating an upward spiral of positive relationships. Sixth, it inhibits negative comparisons with others. It's hard to be envious of what your neighbor has when you're genuinely thankful for what you have. Seventh, it's incompatible with negative emotions. You can't feel resentful and grateful at the same time. Gratitude neutralizes feelings like anger, bitterness, and greed. And finally, it helps us fight back against hedonic adaptation. By consciously appreciating the good things in our lives, we prevent ourselves from taking them for granted. So how do you practice it? You could keep a gratitude journal, writing down 3 to 5 things you're thankful for each week. Dr. Lyubomirsky's research suggests that doing this once a week is often more effective than doing it every day, because it keeps the practice fresh and meaningful. Or you could write a gratitude letter to someone who has made a difference in your life, a teacher, a mentor, a friend, and read it to them in person. Studies show this single act can create a massive and lasting boost in happiness. The second activity in this group is cultivating optimism. This isn't about wearing rose-colored glasses or denying reality. It's about looking at the bright side, finding the silver lining, and believing in a positive future. One of the most effective ways to do this is an exercise called Best Possible Selves. Here's how it works. Take 20 minutes and write about your future, imagining that everything has gone as well as it possibly could. You've worked hard and succeeded at accomplishing all your life goals. This isn't just a fantasy, it's a structured exercise in visualizing the realization of your deepest potential. Laura King, the psychologist who pioneered this technique, found that people who did this for just a few consecutive days showed immediate increases in positive mood, were happier several weeks later, and even reported fewer physical illnesses months down the road. Why does it work? Writing about your best possible future helps you clarify what your goals truly are. It gives you a sense of control and makes your dreams feel attainable. It organizes your thoughts and can give you a new, big-picture perspective on your life. For one young woman named Molly who participated in the study, the exercise made her realize her goals weren't far out of reach. She wrote, "It made me realize that I could be doing more to reach these goals, and with a little effort now I could achieve this best possible life." The third and final mindset activity is avoiding overthinking and social comparison. Overthinking, or what psychologists call rumination, is the habit of passively and endlessly pondering your problems and feelings. Why am I so unhappy? What did she really mean by that? I'll never be good enough. This cycle of negative thought doesn't lead to insight. It just digs a deeper hole. It sustains sadness, fosters pessimistic thinking, and saps your motivation. Equally toxic is the habit of constantly comparing yourself to others. Happy people, Dr. Lyubomirsky found, simply don't do it very much. In one clever experiment, she brought happy and unhappy people into her lab to solve anagram puzzles alongside a peer who was secretly an actor. The actor would either solve the puzzles much faster or much slower than the participant. The results were dramatic. The happy participants felt good about their own performance regardless of how the person next to them did. The unhappy participants, however, felt terrible about themselves and became anxious and frustrated when they were outperformed. Their self-worth was completely dependent on how they measured up to someone else. The secret is to break free from these destructive mental habits. How? First, distract yourself. When you catch yourself ruminating, immediately redirect your attention to something engrossing: a good book, a funny movie, a conversation with a friend, or physical exercise. Second, use the stop technique. When a negative thought loop starts, literally say stop in your mind and force yourself to think about something else. Anything else? Your grocery list, a song, a plan for the weekend. Third, talk it out with a trusted friend. Voicing your worries can often rob them of their power. And fourth, take in the big picture. When you're stressing over something, ask yourself a simple question: will this matter in a year? Or for an even more powerful perspective, will this matter when I'm on my deathbed? It's remarkable how quickly our biggest worries shrink when seen through the lens of time. Part 2. The Power of Connection. The next set of activities revolves around what is perhaps the single strongest finding in happiness research: happy people have better relationships. Investing in our social connections is one of the most reliable paths to well-being. The fourth happiness activity is practicing acts of kindness. We're all taught that being kind is the right thing to do. But what science has recently shown is that it's also one of the best things we can do for ourselves. Being generous and compassionate makes the giver happy. Dr. Lyubomirsky was the first to test this experimentally. She asked one group of students to perform 5 acts of kindness each week, spread out over the week. She asked a second group to perform all 5 of their kind acts on a single day. The results were fascinating. The group that spread their acts out didn't get any happier, but the group that concentrated their kindness into one day, a kindness blitz, experienced a significant boost in their happiness. Why? Because bunching the acts together made them feel more deliberate and noticeable, preventing them from blending into the background of daily life. Why does kindness feel so good? It makes us perceive others more positively. It gives us a welcome distraction from our own problems. It enhances our sense of self-worth, making us feel like capable, compassionate people. And most importantly, it triggers a cascade of positive social consequences. People appreciate you, they reciprocate, and it strengthens your social bonds, satisfying our deep human need to belong. The fifth activity is nurturing social relationships. This is about intentionally investing time and energy into your most important connections, with your romantic partner, your family, and your friends. The happiest people spend more time with others and are exceptionally good at their relationships. For romantic relationships, Dr. Lyubomirsky draws on the work of the famous marriage researcher John Gottman. What do the most successful couples do? First, they make time. Happy couples spend, on average, 5 more hours a week together, talking and connecting. This means scheduling regular date nights, having reunion conversations at the end of the day, and creating media-free zones in the home dedicated to conversation. Second, they express admiration, appreciation, and affection. Gottman found that in stable, happy relationships, the ratio of positive to negative interactions is at least 5-to-1. For every criticism or complaint, there are 5 positive moments: a compliment, a kiss, a shared laugh. Third, they capitalize on good fortune. How you respond to your partner's good news is even more important than how you respond to their bad news. When your partner shares a success, do you meet it with active, enthusiastic interest? Or do you seem distracted or, even worse, point out the downsides? Sharing in each other's joys builds intimacy and trust like nothing else. And what if you're single? These principles are just as powerful for friendships. Make time for your friends. Be supportive and loyal. And don't underestimate the power of physical touch. One study found that students who were instructed to give or receive at least 5 hugs a day became significantly happier over the course of 4 weeks. Part 3. The Power of Resilience and Engagement. The next group of activities is about how we handle life's challenges and how we engage with the present moment. No life is without hardship, But happy people have a secret weapon: their ability to cope. The sixth activity is developing strategies for coping. Coping is what we do to alleviate the hurt and stress caused by a negative event. Psychologists divide coping into two types. Problem-focused coping is when you take direct action to solve the problem. Emotion-focused coping is when the situation is out of your control, and you instead work to manage your emotional reaction to it. One of the most powerful coping strategies is finding meaning in adversity, a phenomenon known as post-traumatic growth. It's the idea behind Nietzsche's famous quote, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." Many people who have gone through immense trauma, bereaved parents, cancer survivors, accident victims, report that the experience ultimately changed them for the better. It forced them to reorder their priorities, deepen their relationships, and gave them a new appreciation for life. How can you cultivate this? A powerful technique is expressive writing. Pioneered by psychologist James Pennebaker, this involves writing about your deepest thoughts and feelings about a traumatic experience for 15 to 20 minutes over several consecutive days. This isn't about venting, it's about creating a coherent narrative. The act of putting chaotic thoughts and feelings into words helps you organize and understand the experience, find meaning in it, and ultimately move past it. The seventh activity is learning to forgive. Holding on to anger and resentment is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened or even reconciling with the person who hurt you. It's not about forgetting. It is an internal shift, where you let go of your desire for revenge and your feelings of bitterness. You do it for yourself. Forgiveness is incredibly challenging, but the benefits are immense. Forgiving people are happier, healthier, less anxious, less hostile, and more serene. How do you begin? One powerful exercise is to write a letter of forgiveness. Describe in detail what happened and how it affected you, but end the letter with an explicit statement of forgiveness. You don't ever have to send it. The act of writing it is for you. Another technique is to practice empathy. Try to see the situation from the other person's perspective. This doesn't mean excusing their behavior, but it can help humanize them and soften your anger. Think about a time when you were the one who needed forgiveness. Recalling that experience can help you grant it to someone else. Now, let's shift from dealing with the past to engaging with the present. The eighth happiness activity is increasing flow experiences. Have you ever been so completely absorbed in an activity that you lose all track of time? Nothing else seems to matter. You're fully immersed, challenged, and operating at the peak of your abilities. This state is what the psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi famously named flow. Flow happens in that perfect space between boredom and anxiety. If a task is too easy, you get bored. If it's too hard, you get anxious. Flow is the sweet spot where the challenge is perfectly matched to your skill level. Finding flow is a key to a happy life because it's an inherently joyful and rewarding experience. It gives you a natural high that is productive and controllable. It also pushes you to grow. As you get better at an activity, you have to seek out greater challenges to stay in flow, which means you are constantly learning, developing, and becoming more competent. You can find flow in almost anything: playing a sport, writing code, painting, playing a musical instrument, even in a deep conversation. The key is to control your attention. Focus fully on the task at hand, without distraction. You can also transform routine tasks into flow activities by creating microflow challenges. Stuck in traffic? Try to tap your fingers in perfect synchrony with the bass line of a song. Waiting in line? Try to solve a mental puzzle. The ninth activity is savoring life's joys. Savoring is slightly different from flow. Where flow is about total immersion, savoring is about stepping outside of an experience to appreciate it. It's consciously stopping to smell the roses. You can savor the past by reminiscing about a happy memory. You can savor the future by joyfully anticipating an upcoming event. And you can savor the present by paying close attention to momentary pleasures: the taste of your morning coffee, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of a beautiful piece of music. One of the best ways to practice savoring is to relish ordinary experiences. Choose one thing you normally rush through: eating a meal, taking a shower, your walk to work, and deliberately slow down. Pay attention to all the sensory details. Another is to replay happy days. Think about one of your happiest memories and play it back in your mind like a movie. Relive the sights, the sounds, the feelings. Don't analyze it, just revel in it. This simple act has been shown to prolong and reinforce positive emotions. Part 4. The power of purpose and the body. The final group of activities connects our happiness to our long-term ambitions and the well-being of our physical selves. The 10th activity is committing to your goals. If you observe a really happy man, wrote one psychiatrist, you will find him building a boat, writing a symphony, or looking for dinosaur eggs in the Gobi Desert. Find a happy person, and you will find a project. Having personally significant goals gives us a sense of purpose and a feeling of control over our lives. It gives us something to work for and look forward to. The process of striving is often as important to our well-being as the actual attainment of the goal. But not all goals are created equal. Research shows that to boost happiness, your goals should be intrinsic, not extrinsic. Pursue them because they are inherently satisfying and meaningful to you, like personal growth or contributing to your community, not for external rewards like money, fame, or social approval. Authentic. They should be your goals, not goals that your parents or society have chosen for you. Approach-oriented, not avoidance-oriented. Focus on what you want to achieve, for example. Be fit and healthy rather than what you want to avoid, for example, don't be fat. And finally, they should be harmonious, meaning they don't conflict with each other. To bring this to life, think of Mr. Schwengel, an award-winning kindergarten teacher profiled in the book. His job is his calling. He is bursting with goals, creating new curriculum themes every 3 weeks with costumes and field trips, making digital movies of his students, teaching them everything from reading to sushi. He is pure energy, engagement, and flow. He has made the choice to commit to being the best teacher he can be, and in doing so, has built a life of profound meaning and joy. The 11th activity is practicing religion and spirituality. For centuries, this has been a cornerstone of human well-being, and modern science is beginning to understand why. Religious and spiritual people are, on the whole, happier, healthier, and cope better with trauma. The reasons are multifaceted. Religion often provides a powerful source of social support through a close-knit community. It offers a framework for finding meaning, both in ordinary life and in the face of tragedy. And practices like prayer and worship can directly generate powerful positive emotions like hope, gratitude, love, and awe. Spirituality, which Dr. Lyubomirsky defines as a search for the sacred, offers similar benefits, even for those who are not part of a formal religion. It's about finding a connection to something larger than yourself and seeing the sacred in ordinary life. Finally, the 12th activity is taking care of your body. This is a 3-part strategy. The first part is meditation. Meditation is a family of techniques for cultivating attention. It's about training your mind to be non-judgmental, non-striving, patient, and open to the present moment. An avalanche of studies has shown its powerful effects. In one incredible study, workers who went through an 8-week mindfulness meditation program showed increased activity in the left prefrontal cortex of their brains, a pattern associated with happiness. They also showed a stronger immune response to a flu vaccine. Even a short-term practice can literally change your brain and your body. The second part is physical activity. This may be the most effective instant happiness booster of all. In a landmark study nicknamed SMILE, older adults with clinical depression were randomly assigned to one of 3 groups: 4 months of aerobic exercise, 4 months of the antidepressant Zoloft, or a combination of both. The results were stunning. At the end of the 4 months, all 3 groups had improved equally. Exercise was just as effective as Zoloft at treating depression. But the most remarkable finding came 6 months later. The patients who had been in the exercise-only group were significantly less likely to have relapsed. Why? Perhaps because they attributed their recovery to their own effort and commitment, giving them a powerful sense of mastery and self-esteem. The final part of this strategy is the simplest of all: acting like a happy person. This is grounded in the facial feedback hypothesis. The act of physically expressing an emotion can actually make you feel it. In a famous study, People who held a pen between their teeth, forcing a smile, found cartoons funnier than people who held a pen between their lips, forcing a frown. So, smile, laugh, stand tall, act with energy and enthusiasm, even if you have to fake it at first. This simple act doesn't just trick your brain, it kickstarts an upward spiral. The world smiles back at you. People respond more positively. You create instant connections, and you begin to build the very reality you were pretending to inhabit. And that, in essence, is the beautiful, empowering message at the heart of the How of Happiness. It's a journey that starts with a single, intentional choice: the choice to practice, to build, to create, because 40% of your happiness is waiting for you to claim it. Commentary. As we come to the end of our journey through the How of Happiness, I find myself reflecting on the single most powerful idea this book offers. It's not one of the 12 activities, as potent as they are. It's the simple, profound number that underpins everything: 40%. In a world that often makes us feel like we're just passengers, subject to the whims of our genetics, our upbringing, and our circumstances, that number is a declaration of independence. It's a reminder that we are not merely the sum of what has happened to us. We are the architects of our own well-being. Happiness, Dr. Lyubomirsky shows us, is not a lottery ticket you might win one day if you're lucky. It's a craft. It's a skill you can learn, a muscle you can build, a garden you can cultivate. What I find so beautiful about this work is that it takes happiness out of the realm of mystical gurus and into the world of practical, everyday action. It demystifies it. It gives us a toolbox, filled with 12 scientifically proven tools, and tells us to get to work. It honors the reality that this work requires effort, commitment, and discipline, but it also promises us that this is the most rewarding work we will ever do. The true genius of the book lies in its blend of scientific rigor and compassionate, practical advice. It doesn't offer a one-size-fits-all miracle cure. Instead, it empowers you to become your own happiness scientist, to experiment with these 12 strategies and discover the unique combination, the happiness program, that works for you. So, where do you begin? It can feel overwhelming, but the path to a happier life starts with a single step. Here are 3 simple, practical actions you can take, starting today, drawn directly from the wisdom of this book. First, try the 3 good things exercise tonight before you go to sleep. It's simple. Just take 5 minutes to write down 3 things that went well for you today, and briefly explain why they went well. This small act retrains your brain to scan for the positive instead of dwelling on the negative. It's a tiny investment with a huge return. Second, plan a one-day kindness blitz for this coming week. Pick one day, say, Saturday, and make a conscious effort to perform 5 acts of kindness. They don't have to be grand gestures. Pay for the coffee of the person behind you in line. Send a heartfelt text to a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Give a genuine compliment to a stranger. As the research showed, concentrating your kindness into a single day makes the experience more powerful and memorable, giving you a tangible happiness boost. Third, schedule 1 hour of uninterrupted flow. Identify an activity you love, one where you lose all track of time. Whether it's playing an instrument, drawing, coding, playing a sport, or getting lost in a great book. Look at your calendar right now and block out 1 hour for it this week. Treat that appointment with the same seriousness you would a doctor's visit or a final exam. Protecting time for deep, joyful engagement is one of the cornerstones of a well-lived life. That was a summary of The How of Happiness by Sonja Lyubomirsky. We've explored the highlights today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only ever be a map. The real treasure is found when you make the journey yourself. The true magic happens in the quiet moments of reading, when a particular story or a simple phrase resonates with you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is designed to give you a sense of the landscape and help you decide if this is a journey worth taking. If anything we've talked about today has sparked a light within you, I wholeheartedly encourage you to grab a copy of the book. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself and the world around you. A link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and want to continue exploring life-changing books with us, Please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to Billionaire's Bookshelf. It helps us grow and ensures you won't miss our next journey into another transformative work. Let's keep building our best selves, together.